Welcome to your daily dose. My name is Robert. It's my pal Susan, and we are talking the Shawshank Redemption and the Shawshank Hero's Journey, which is our new program via our nonprofit that we're putting on to the general public. Hey, come on in. The movie's great.
The movie's great. It is amazing to me how often I hear that's my favorite movie. That's my all-time. When I tell people that's a part of our program, there's this reaction like kind of like, how are you guys so smart to pick that movie? And I think you said it's your all-time favorite movie as well.
It is, and you know enough about my background and stuff that comes out in Acceptance, which new book. Please check that out, coming out soon, to know what that movie has meant to me at various stages of my life, how it continues to be a centerpiece, and why Andy means so much to me. And I want to ask you, as someone who went through the program, how did the program help you see the movie in differently? Maybe Andy or the moments or yourself, what did it do for you? What, because we watch movies because we love them, but we keep coming back to the same ones for some reason, and we keep finding different stuff. What did it do for you going through it that way?
Well, the class, the program is amazing in support of that. So I guess I'd say one thing is I didn't have Parkinson's when I first saw the movie. I did the first time well, and still, um, that the, that was it became kind of a backdrop because of Muhammad Ali saying, "I feel like a prisoner in my own body." That connection was so powerful for me, but it is kind of like it was a jumping off place for then me as an individual person and thinking about the injustices and the bravery that Andy exhibited. For example, when he was up on the roof and nearly went over, but he
Yeah.
stayed in his truth.
I like that you use the word injustice, and that fits with the general motif of law and prison, and why one would be imprisoned. And you mentioned Muhammad Ali saying it, and you understanding and feeling that too. That idea that's a universal appealing thing. We want fairness. We want things to be just. And when they're not, and we see somebody right them, how do we feel about that person who rights the wrong?
Backing up a little bit, the injustice. It's it's just so hard to watch that in the movie. The things the warden does are downright criminal, and he gets away with them.
And Boggs, I mean, again,
Yeah,
there's just some of the worst things that can happen to a human being happen.
and
And as Red says, this is no fairy tale.
I guess maybe this would be an answer, partial answer to your question. The fact that I mean, yes, it was fiction and stuff, but the fact that Andy did it, even stayed in solitary confinement for the second month, not that he had any choice, but it's like he found grace in he could he could say, okay, well, that's who they were, and not let that defeat him. He knew he didn't kill his wife, but he also felt he may have led to that happening in ways that he didn't understand. And he almost got salvation when Tommy came along. God, remember, there's so many things about that movie.
Yeah, and that's right. You mentioned, I mean, salvation, fantastic word. And also, the idea of acceptance of his role, even in an unfair situation. Is there any part of this that I can own to keep me away from the crowd that says, I didn't do it? Like everybody's in complete denial. That's the chorus of Shawshank, right? And we see where that leads people. That leads people to a path of institutionalization. And Andy rejects that.
Yeah.
And we
I,
could
I
we could
keep,
say that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, I just keep flashing on moments, and especially near the end because he, his belief in himself was um, manifest at the end.
Yeah.
And when I say himself, it was he was a good guy. He was grounded in what he knew was true and decent and fair, even though he was surrounded by just the opposite. And that's really inspirational when you see that level of hardship and then you rise above that.
Yeah, and you mentioned him being, that phrase, a good guy. What makes him, I think, a better guy is recognizing, okay, maybe these aren't thought of as bad things, but I'm going to clear my path of all of them. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to become emotionally aware. I'm going to become emotionally vulnerable. I'm going to, care about others more than just, myself, my career, whatever. And, those might seem like pretty low level things to be in prison for murder that you didn't do. But, to me, that's a great indicator of it doesn't matter how clean you think your house is, right? If you do a little more, maybe that's the final step. And for us, that's the final step here. That's your daily dose. We'll see you on the next one. Hopefully,
Okay.
see you in Shawshank. Take care.